Hi everyone, this is Eric, head trader and owner at tailoredtrader.com, where we trade live every day in a trading room. Today is Sunday, May 14th, about 5:47 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is a video that I'm going to do regarding the analysis on the three major currency pairs that we trade daily inside of our room. The Euro USD, which you see in front of me here. Also the British Pound USD, also known as GBP USD, and finally the Japanese Yen, which is the USD JPY. So in this video, I'm going to go over the higher time frame analysis. Mainly, I'm going to take you to the monthly, weekly, and daily chart. Now, what you see in front of me here is the actual setup that you're going to be seeing in the room. Again, I'm going to be going on over the higher time frames, but as you see on the bottom here, we have the smaller time frames. If you subscribe to the channel and you view the prior videos, I do explain some of the time frames in this setup as well, so you could check that out. But without further ado, with all that said, let's go ahead and dive into the analysis. Now, before I get into it, I'm not going to be really giving any trade ideas or swing trading ideas off of this video. Because at trader.com we run the day trading room, so I'm going to go over the higher time frame analysis, and then in the room every day we trade off of the higher time frame analysis, of course off the smaller time frames. So here you have the Euro USD on a weekly, but I'm just going to move this to a monthly really quick and explain that just real quick on the monthly, that the Euro USD has been kind of trapped in an overall range for quite some time. Starting from 2015, give or take, this thing has just been kind of sideways. And as you can see, again, this is a monthly chart, so this is quite some time that the Euro has kind of just been back and forth inside of what I have an extreme monthly high up here at the 116.16s, all the way down to extreme lows at the 1.0340s. And I have a Fibonacci level marked from that high to this low, and right now we're kind of teetering back and forth on the 50% mark from that extreme high to this extreme low. We also have a series of monthly highs up here with this orange ellipse, and we also have the 68 Fibonacci retracement level higher up at the 111.28 level here. Now that's on the monthly. And note, I do color code my lines. We do have orange for the monthly kind of highs, lows, and price points. I'm not going to get much into that, but I do wanted to note I do have an extreme points for the monthly and the Euro at these levels here. I'm just going to drop down to the weekly. And while this is loading here, I will say that the weekly, everything that I have on the weekly time frame analysis is going to be marked up in those. So kind of zooming out on the weekly chart here on the Euro, we've kind of been in like again, it's a range, but within this range on the monthly, we have kind of like a upward sloping channel that has been respecting for the Euro USD. Now, for this week here, we're going to be opening, which we just have 40 minutes ago. For this week, we're kind of opening in the middle of this weekly candle prior. We have a weekly high labeled here at 1.1025-ish, and then we have a weekly low at 1.0845-ish, and we're opening right in the middle. So the pressure for the Euro is up for the most part. But we have a potential retracement in here for the weekly. Right off the bat, I'm just going to go off just daily and maximize it. And everything that I draw on the weekly is also drawn on the daily. But what I want to do is give you an idea of kind of what to look for this week. As I said, we are in a sloping upward channel, and as you can see down here, I pulled a Fibonacci retracement from this daily low down here, also a weekly low at 1.0568, up into the last week's high of 1.1025, and there's a there's a 50, 68, and a 38.1 Fibonacci retracement here that could potentially hold up the daily / weekly charts coming in at 1.0850, which is going to be that 38 Fibonacci retracement level for the continuation higher if the euro to continue higher. Now, we are kind of forming a little bit of a double bottom here with a last Friday close with a strong engulfing kind of green candle for the continuation higher if the euro wants to go. Just keep in mind that we do have a weekly low down here, also confluenced with the 61 or the 68 Fibonacci retracement as well down here. So the euro, as I'm mentioning, be opening up kind of in the middle in the weekly. We of course have some places or some prices down below where it could come down, some confluence continue to the upside, or it could just continue to the upside from here off this double bottom. So there's a couple things that are going to have to happen before the euro kind of makes its real move. Potentially could go higher, we can go lower, and that's also signaled kind of in the weekly of where we're going to be opening, because we're in, at least in my analysis, kind of opening in the middle of last week. So right off the bat on Monday, it's not going to be so much high setups as far as like swing or some directional bias. Probably have to figure out what the market wants to do early on in the week, Monday and Tuesday, for the Euro USD. But so far, that's the analysis. Real quick on the week. Closed last week, we have weekly highs and lows that we're going to have to break kind of for some continuation to the upside or the downside. If we do continue higher, just be careful because we have a 61 Fibonacci supporting it to the downside for some resistance if we do break higher. If we do break lower, we have a weekly low, another weekly low here, and that's going to be confluenced with this channel for the weekly channel here, as I've been mentioning. And then also, if you remember, I'm going to go to the daily. There's also some Fibonacci retracements from this pull from this weekly low here, which is also a monthly low, to this high right here, which was last week's high. That pull is going to give us a Fibonacci retracement prices or retracements down at these levels right here, which I kind of just went through. So we're opening right in the middle. So again, Monday, Tuesday, just be careful in the Euro USD. But again, in the day trading room, we are going to I'll be trading that daily. Okay, so now moving on to the British pound, GBP, USD. I'm just going to go straight to the higher time frame analysis. Again, orange line. Everything in orange is monthly. Everything in yellow is weekly. So real quick, just to a monthly real quick. British pound has been, suffering from Brexit. We get extreme drops down here, but after Brexit, we've been kind of ranging quite some time. This is a monthly chart, and last month we finally had a breakout for the pound to the upside, but it's being met with, of course, some resistance, of course. But overall, I'd say, I've been trading the pound, in the context of mostly range. So I just wanted to bring that up as a monthly chart coming from several months where it's just been kind of back and forth for the month, and we finally just recently broke out of that range. But I expect further range for the pound, at least in the over the next month. So now from the monthly, and yes, I do look at the higher time frames as always, even the monthly charts, although I am a day trader. While that's loading, I just want to add that in. So now I'm going to track down to the weekly. And basically last week we just came into another, we broke out. Now we're coming to another area where there's weekly kind of congestion and supply area where the, prior Brexit dropped has happened as well. So we're kind of retesting that price right now. And last week we kind of had somewhat of a kind of a golfing candle put in from the prior week, but notice how we have a couple of weekly lows here that are going to be potentially supporting price to the upside or even ranging. I expect further range in the pound with some monthly lows down below, I don't really have a Fibonacci retracement pulled on the pound, but of course there could be some retracement levels being potentially being held up here, although we'd have to break those weekly lows. So for my analysis, I'm not really going to be looking at so much Fibonacci retracement levels. I'm just really going to be playing the range for the pound in the room. So I'm saying a lot of ums because that's just kind of how it is. So let me just go to the daily because there's not much to say on the weekly. Just because, last round of close is engulfing, kind of engulfing, but it's not really engulfing because it's not, engulfing that whole prior candle. So again, let me just go to the daily. Those prices for the weekly are, of course, on the daily chart. We have weekly highs above, and we have, doji reversal candles above, and we have doji reversal candles below, all near these kind of weekly lows and highs. So basically how I'm going to be playing the week for the GBP USD is kind of playing the range above and below at these prices here. Of course, if we break below here with some confirmations, of course we can go lower, and of course we can go higher, breaking these weekly highs. And of course we'd have to pick levels within here where we want to take our so right now, look, pound, just if I keep this chart stationary, we have support levels and supply levels above and below, and we have doji levels, of course, above and below right here from Friday's close and even Thursday's or Wednesday's close here. So I expect further kind of games to be played in the GBP USD at these levels above and below. So just trade safe in the GBP. As far as a higher time frame move, yeah, we could get that, but again, I expect some rainy days above and below here before it kind of moves that. And again, intraday we get those moves above or below, so I'm not really worried about missing a move here. I'm just going to be scalping early on in the week, and then of course if it wants to break, I will add on to some bigger size for the big. In kind of the same form, I'm going to go to the higher time frame, starting with the monthly. Okay, just waiting for this to load here. Okay, so real quick, I have extremes on the extremes being extreme prices on the monthly, of course, way up here at 126s. Probably not going to get there anytime soon. And of course, 98s, call it 99 evens. And then I have a couple of monthly highs here as well. Main one, 118.66 here, signaled by the orange. And then I also have another 108.13s with orange, and then the 101s, 18s being orange. Now, real quick, I have a Fibonacci retracement drawn at the 101.18s from the Donald Trump election, down here. And I have that pulled up to the Donald Trump election high after that had happened. That is that Donald Trump kind of trade. And then so far it's kind of dropped down, retraced a little bit down into the 61.8 retracement, kind of held up and is retracing to the upside, printing a last week reversal candle, and we had a break on last month. This is a monthly candle reversal, and then we broke, and so we have some continuation for the month of May, which is what we're seeing right here, right now. So that's the monthly, and if you could just kind of get a mental image of this chart here, I'm going to just drop down to the weekly. And so the weekly has been kind of channeling down, and we finally broke that channel out. I know a lot of traders got stopped out of this this upward move last week, even beginning from the week prior. I was looking at if you go to the daily, I was looking at a short setup there, but had a flip to the long side really quick myself. But anyways, let me go back to the analysis here. So far for this, we are breaking that kind of downward sloping inner channel coming off of that monthly close of a doji. So this is a doji reversal close for the monthly, and it broke out a weekly chart is stronger than a weekly chart. So that's why we are breaking out of a weekly channel to the downside, because we had a monthly reversal candle to the upside. Hopefully that made sense. In the room, I'll explain that further. Now, what that has done for us so far is we have a weekly low printed at the 112.40 areas here, and we have a weekly high at 114.40s. Right now, that's going to basically provide, if this is going to continue higher, provide some support at these prices here for the continuation higher. If we do want to get to the monthly highs of the 115s, or the 115s, if this monthly cycle wants to touch the next monthly high, this is prices that we're going to be seeing up here, potentially the 115s. But of course, we'd have to break the 114.40s of last week's high. So what does that mean for us this week if we were to kind of play that? And I go from the weekly chart to the daily, and this is kind of what I'm looking at here. And just remember, this is coming off of that 61.8 continuation for the month. This is the whole reversal candle on the monthly, and we had a poke high there coming out of this channel on the weekly, and this is kind of what you're seeing right here. So I already mentioned the weekly high and the weekly low. That's going to potentially provide some in demand or some support and resistance, and those prices are clearly labeled with the yellow. And I did pull a Fibonacci retracement from this low here at 108.13 up into the 114.40s, and this gives us the 112.38, or the prices of 112 even as a 38 Fibonacci retracement. Also confluence would be some weekly lows down here and some new fresh demand levels down here, along with a 50% retracement at the 111.26s, and that also is confluence with a weekly low down here. So of course, if this cycle for the monthly wants to continue higher, we're going to be seeing prices of 115.50s. It could go lower before it goes higher. We do have, and again, I'll repeat that, it could go lower before it goes higher, and these are the kind of areas that I'm going to be looking at confluenced for some potential prices where it could stop and continue higher. And although we may not get down to these levels, it could continue higher just by itself, setting up on a smaller time frame. So this is what I'm looking at, continuation higher here. Just off the bat, I'll look at the smaller time frames. If it does want to go lower, let it go lower. Let it go lower. We have some prices down here where we have some confluenced areas to where we could see a next leg either higher or of course lower if you wanted to get this trade as well to the short side to then play to the long side. Again, I'll just draw a quick line for the potential scenarios. Could go here. And I'll just make this kind of like a pink color. And this video is going to be coming to the closing. So it could go, of course, lower. It could go higher right off the bat, which is why, we're going to be trading it in the room daily. Or it can go even lower, and then, of course, go higher. So this is kind of like what I'm looking at. We don't know what the market's going to do, but I'm prepared for kind of price points and continuation patterns. I'll be looking for the smaller time frames, of course, to execute. So here that is pretty much the analysis on the euro, the pound, and the yen. And again, this is Eric with TaylorTrader.com. It is Sunday, May 14th, coming up at just passing 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll catch you in the day trading room. Stay safe.